Daniel Sports Central will be over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up here in the SEC in Week 6 of this 2021 college football season, and it'll be over the LSU Tigers and the Kentucky Wildcats. Huge matchup for each of these teams heading into Week 6. LSU took another loss last week. They're 3-2 right now, and they're in desperate need of a win at this point in the season. As for Kentucky, though, this is a team who is on the rise after a huge upset win against Florida, and they're still undefeated heading into this game, and they entered the rankings in the top 20, nearly in the top 15 in their first week in the rankings. So Kentucky, there's a lot of pressure on this team, but that is a very talented Kentucky team, and at the same time, LSU, this is a team that really needs a win as well. So important game for both these teams heading into Week 6. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Last week, LSU lost to Auburn, 19-24 is the final score there. So Tigers kept it very close, but in the end, Auburn got the win in a close one. But LSU is 3-2 right now, and this is a tough situation for LSU. I mean, this is a team that's got enough talent to be an SEC contender, but so far this season, they've already taken 2 losses against UCLA and Auburn, which, looking back, now that UCLA lost, just does not look very good considering the Bruins are completely out of the rankings at this point. But yeah, LSU, this could be a huge win for this team, like especially for Kentucky. This is a team who just knocked off Florida, 10th ranked team in the nation at the time, 20-13. I mean, this could be a huge win to potentially shift the momentum for LSU because this team needs a big win for sure. It would be a huge win for LSU without a doubt. But for Kentucky, this is a team who's definitely on the rise right now in the SEC East. And I mean, if you look at this team, you got a huge win over Florida there. They're 5-0 with a 5-game winning streak overall. Not looking too bad for the Wildcats right now. They're currently ranked 16th in the nation. Game will be on Saturday, October 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. So Wildcats are the home team for this matchup, and it'll be at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So we got a night game in Kentucky for this matchup. Spread currently has Kentucky by 3, over-under is 50.5, and your ESPN FPI is going with the Wildcats as well, 51.8%. So FPI is pretty much saying that it's a coin toss for who's going to win this game, but even the spread is really close as expected. I mean, LSU's got a long history of success in this matchup as they lead at 40-16. Your win streak is LSU by 2, but at the same time, it's been like 7 years since we saw the last matchup between both these teams, as your last game between LSU and Kentucky was in 2014. So it has been a while since both teams played. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. LSU's got 31 points per game, 23 points allowed for passers a game, 303, rushers a game, 66. So pretty heavy passing offense so far this season for LSU. And then for yards allowed, 248 passing, 119 on the rushing side. As for Kentucky, 28 points per game, 16 points allowed, 208 pass yards a game, 189 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, 180 passing, and then 104 rushing. So obviously, for both sides, I mean, you got Kentucky, which is a pretty balanced offense for rushing and passing. But for LSU, this is a very heavy passing team, which the thing is that Kentucky's secondary actually this season so far has played outstanding, allowing under 200 pass yards per game, which, once again, you guys may have heard me say this before, but if you want to have a good stat for a passing defense, if you're allowing below 200 pass yards a game, that's a pretty good position, and Kentucky is below that by 20 yards at 180. Meanwhile, LSU not looking so good in that category at 248. But overall, I mean, Kentucky so far this season, I mean, I had a couple of questions about them just looking at your recent matchups here. Of course, they had close games against South Carolina, close game against Chattanooga, Missouri. Louisiana Monroe was a blowout win as expected. It should have been because ULM is one of the worst teams in the FBS. But I mean, this team played close to Chattanooga and South Carolina, and that's the reason why I didn't have them ranked heading into Week 5. But I mean, obviously after a big win like they had against Florida, I mean, yeah, this is definitely a Kentucky team that is getting a lot more attention now at a 5-0 record. But for LSU here, they did lose to Auburn there, 19-24, beat Mississippi State by 3, beat Central Michigan 49-21, beat McNeese State 34-7, and of course they had that bad loss against UCLA 27-38, which, I mean, the thing is about LSU here, I mean, this team, of course, in 2019 was, I mean, just outstanding. They won the national title, and heading into 2020, I mean, I kind of expected them to have a bit of a down year because of the amount of talent that they lost after 2019. But now we're in 2021, and this is a team who's got a lot more experience than they did last season. And it is a bit concerning to see LSU struggling as they are right now, with 2 losses already on the board against, good teams, but not outstanding teams like Alabama or Florida or Georgia. So, that's kind of a bit of a concern right now for LSU. And, that's why this is such an important game for them, is because, there's definitely a few questionable points about this LSU team right now. But for Kentucky, this is also a huge game for them. Once again, if you win this game, you probably get into the top 15 for sure. And, you got some big attention in the SEC. But that being said, let's look at some key points for this one. LSU, of course, is 3-2. This team, without a doubt, has got the talent of a top 25 team. I expected this team to be 9-10 win team this season, which, of course, with 2 losses already, it's kind of tough to see this team going 10-2 at this point. Honestly, at best, you can expect 7-9 wins. But Max Johnson, he's playing well. He's not the issue for this LSU team. But this team still should not be underestimated. That's the thing about Kentucky is, this is still an extremely talented LSU team. They've got top 25 talent. They've recruited extremely well. And so for Kentucky, you got to take this game seriously without a doubt. But for Kentucky, they had the big upset over Florida last week. That was a huge upset. I did not see that one coming. I personally thought Florida was going to win by a couple of touchdowns there, but Kentucky came to play. Credit to them. Huge win for the Wildcats, and they're playing a lot of close games so far this season as well. That's the main concern. If we haven't seen, great, outstanding performances against teams like Chattanooga or like South Carolina, for example, you should have had bigger wins over those teams. But a win's a win. This team is still undefeated. That's really what matters here. But Chris Rodriguez, he is the real deal. He's been a top SEC quarterback so far this season, playing extremely well, and he's going to be a big threat for LSU's rush defense. But that being said, let's get to the prediction for this matchup, LSU-Kentucky here. I'm going to go with the Wildcats here, 27-21. It's going to be very close. I could see LSU winning this one easily as well. Especially, they're going to be very motivated. They've got to get a win here, which this could be a brutal loss for LSU. But just the direction that they're heading right now, I just don't like LSU right now. And just looking at how, once again, they're playing against, of course, Auburn's a good football team, but even UCLA a few weeks back, they just have not been playing the best so far this season. So I think Kentucky ends up getting the win. Wildcats have a lot more momentum right now than LSU does, and Kentucky as a team just looks a lot better than LSU as of right now. So I'm going to go with Kentucky 27-21. It's going to be close. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised to see either team win. In fact, I'm going Kentucky here 55%. But, Kentucky also having this game at home, that will give them an advantage. Your over-under is 50.5, and I'm taking the under if you're into betting. So I'm taking, 48 total points for this matchup. So just slightly below the over-under of 50.5. So anyway, that being said, let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll catch you on the next one.